So I decided, after my last belt was finished, the edges on the last belts, let's start the video off that way. So I took brown dye, we took Tokenol, we took some Resolene, and we did the edges of these belts. Now I can't promise you they are the rounded kind of perfection that you're used to from vegan leather or from the WWE shop or otherwise, right? They're pretty bold. That's pretty rough cut. Now I did go around and sand the edges, so there's parts of it that's smoother than others, and this part that's kind of got that sharp edge to it. But it's colored, it's dyed, and it doesn't have the ugly division in the color, because when you cut through the leather and it's only gone through the tanning process on the surface, like plywood, you can see the layers down the side of it. And so I'm very happy with that. I'm very happy with how the conditioning turned that belt nice and dark and rich, almost like a chocolate color. It's really great stuff. It's just a WWE shop replica. I've not had anything restoned. I've not nothing. I see all these. Hey man, that belt's got base plates and blah, 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 blah. I don't care. I'm very happy with that title. I did several. I did. Here's a FANDU that I did. This is my double drum dyed black leather, and it's got the black dye that I put down the sides of it, burnished it. You know what? I might not put Resolene. No, that might could use another layer of Resolene. I went over everything. This is one. You can still buy these belts on eBay. It's the antique gold with the blue stones. They're $319. The only place I know you can buy them, like on a daily basis. And they will customize your nameplate for no charge, free shipping. So you go on eBay and get that. But I put it on this much more durable leather, and quite frankly, the leather that it comes, it's like a furniture leather with cardboard inside. When you do any of your movements on the leather it comes on, it's got those bubbles that pop up. Of course, this is not like that. It's top quality leather. But anyway, yeah, the edges, I went around, dyed them, and burnished them, put some Tokenol. I can't imagine I didn't put Resolene on this belt, but it doesn't. I tell you what, I don't think I did put Resolene on that belt. So it doesn't have that shiny, smooth edge to it the way that it should. I'm going to leave that out. Remind myself to work on that. But I did all the other belts, I did them in rotation. I laid them on my desk and just, I just went down the edges of all the belts with the, I think I used dark brown from Phoebe's or whatever it is, and did all the edges. Then I went back with the Resolene, but before I did that, I actually had gone through, sanded down, so this one's got some smoother edge. And once you sand it down, you use Tokenol. You can use some different materials. Some people like the saddle soap. Some people like burnishing gum, whatever. And essentially what you do is once you've got this thing cut, it's got loose fibers. You're going to smooth those down. You put the gum, the Tokenol, the conditioning product to hold it in place like you're perming your hair. And so now that you've held all the hairs in place, you can dye it, burnish it some more, you go back in, and you put your Resolene on there to seal it. So if you've ever done a piece of furniture, you're going to sand it down, you're going to color it, stain it, and then you put polyurethane on top to seal it, just like a hardwood floor. And that's essentially what you're doing to the edges of the belt. You're going to dye it, and then you're going to go back. Now, one of the things that you'll see on these belts, if you ever, I don't know why anybody would see one in person, they're mine, but there are, stretches down the edge where the color, I don't know how much that shows up on the camera, but there's a streak of color all the way around the edges that almost goes along with where I've almost, I guess I got some dye onto it or something, but it blends in beautifully to that rich color. And I tell you what, I never did put like another layer of glove conditioner of the Wilson's leather on these belts. I don't know what it would do, but my experience has been that it takes it from a very light color, and it's not that light, but it's close. It'll take it to that light color to a darker color just by the amount that I put on there so far. I have a feeling if I keep putting it on there, it would keep darkening the belt. So, very happy with the process of the edging. It was, I tried a Dremel, which is not a bad gig. I know that Drip, is that his name? Or Ripley or whatever his name is, Drip Belts. He does that with a Dremel. He's got videos. But I just went back and sandpaper. I actually have a sandpaper sponge for drywall, and I used that, and then I and Tokenol, and then dyed it, and then sealed it, and I'm pretty happy with that. It doesn't have any color variations, and once again, that buffalo is just, look at that, it's just so beautiful, and it's got all that texture to it. It's rich and has, you know, variations all the way across it. So I know people love that crumb rind, shop rind, whatever, you know, whatever your terminology is. People love that kind of thing. I'd never thought of that when I was doing it. My thought process was that years ago, I asked a guy when he was going to do these belts, when he was going to do these Premier belts, and I've had this belt for 10 years. I said, Keith, what do you think about putting on real leather? Just let it be, you know, the brown, you know. He said, gold against that would not be good. He said, you know, you want to do black. And so he actually has trimmed this out. You know, he used his skills to edge it and, you know, decorate it and all that fun stuff. And it's great leather. I mean, I don't know that it's phenomenal. I worked this for weeks and weeks when I first got it. I would lay the belt and I don't care about scratching the plates. I mean, I'm not reckless, like I'm not playing with steak knives, but like I would roll it up, you know, just roll that son of a bitch. Like I would roll it in the reverse direction all the way, and I'd put a weight on top of it, and I'd let it sit there for days like that, maybe a week or two. I would fold it one way, I'd fold it inverted, and so at this point, you know, and this is 10 years later, because I had it done in 2014, it is just, I mean, I'm telling you, man, that's one of my favorite things that I've done. Now, I'm pretty sure these were brass snaps in the beginning. They're silver now because it's worn off, but I mean, that belt it's well, there went a light bulb. It's phenomenal. It's real leather. It's great. Yeah. I was trying to make the sound. Apparently Thomas Edison got in the way. Oh, now there's glass every fucking where. Well, anyway, we're going to keep doing the video because I'm a trooper. So, here's what we've found so far. We've found that the edging works quite beautifully. I have found that I have a problem with chronically visiting eBay. And so I swore up and down when I finished those belts. I said, well, I've got a leather bag that, well, that's my grandfather's bag. But I have a leather bag where I put my tools and all my goodies, and, you know, there's dabbers and all kinds of stuff in there. It's good stuff, right? And I swore up and down that when I did those belts, like that was going to be kind of the beginning of the end. Now I've got a dual-plated winged eagle that I might want to put on something one day. But right now, I'm very satisfied. All my FANDUs, everything's on new leather. And then there was this guy. And he had this thing. And he had it for a price. But he also had it for best offer. I was like... So I I don't know if I should be telling you people this, but I'm going to. I just sent him a message and I said, look, contact seller. Look, brother, I own 7 FANDU belts. I bought 10. I'm going to put money into releathering this. Now, I'm doing it, right? But I'm going to put some money into releathering this. So here's what I'm willing to offer you. Because I have any business buying this belt. I already have too many belts. But if you're interested, I will offer you this many dollars. And he responded. This was at like 4 o'clock in the morning. He responded almost right away. And it made me think I was buying the belt from Caligula, or, Lestat, Count Dracula, somebody who's a creature of the night. But he accepted my offer. I was very surprised, to say the least. So I'm gonna. Oh, I see what you did there. He has down the side here. We're gonna whip it out. Well, man, he has done quite a job on this. All that glass in the floor. I can see it everywhere. When I put that belt back on that shelf, I could hear glass falling down in the shelf. There must be glass all over the damn back of this room. All right, so let's. This is not good. Now I'll tell you this. This is well packaged. It's got it all the way up, down, left, right. The one thing that I am not a fan of when you package it like this is now I have to break this tape all the way down this belt, which means I've got to, I've got to put something with an edge somewhere near the belt. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. It doesn't have like a peel, like a tear away or a perforated or anything else. I'm going to have to go like down piece by piece and get this sorted out. You guys are all tilted up. The 5 people that'll watch this video. Okay. So if I do the one like that. Okay. And I'm putting my fingers, I don't know if you can see that, but I'm putting my fingers in here to separate it. And then I'm going into the gap. And you'll see it more as I go down the belt. But I'm putting my fingers in here to jack it up. And then I'm cutting between the fingers. I don't know if I'm helping you guys at all. It's just something I do. But be careful, because I am cutting like between my fingers. But my fingers are covered, so I guess if you didn't have a relative understanding of where your fingers are, you probably have to clean a lot of blood off this belt. Here we go. So this is going smoothly. Oh, man. So here we are. Alright, there we go. I'm going to cut through, because he's got it folded over at the end. We're going to cut through that to kill all the folds. Yep, so you've got some tape in there. So that's going to give me access to the entire belt, almost. Okay. Now we have access to the entire belt. That's cardboard? What is that? Okay, that's cardboard. So the back of it is, it's very familiar to me. Of course I know what it is. I bid on this thing. Well, I swindled him out of this belt by offering him a price he just couldn't turn down. I already own several of these. So here's where we are. We have the red. And wait a minute, don't you already have some of these belts? Yeah, I do. But for the price that I got on this thing, I said, you know what? That's a real FANDU belt. They're flexible. From what I understood from him, and this has got a lot of, I don't know if that'll pick up on the camera, but where I crossed over with my finger. It's got some layers of dirt where it's been displayed. So, I mean, this is easy. This is easy stuff. People, you know, they recommend all kinds of different things for how to care for these belts, but you can essentially use just a dry cloth, or people recommend ammonia-free Windex and things like that for the belts. I have been known to use real leather for my belts, and so I use Duragloss to make them shine. You can also use Lexol, and I was using this Lyman leather conditioner, which is not a bad product. And I don't have a before of this, but I'm going to show you something that I think is my favorite leather thing for sentimental reasons. My great-grandfather delivered mail for the post office, and I was given this recently. It was in terrible, terrible shape, and I cleaned it up with the leather conditioner to a point. It has a lot of flaws where it's been exposed to the weather. It's got that just nasty texture to it, and there's places where it's just become the leather's, you know, rot or worn through. So I'm going to have to do some work in some of these problem areas, and then specifically around the bottom of the bag. And I don't know if I'll pick up some of those areas, but they're rather black and rather ugly. The stitching is kind of jacked up in some of the areas. So that's a project, but I cleaned it. It probably had not been cleaned for 70 years or something. So it looks, now on this video screen, it looks really, really nice. And maybe it is to somebody, but I see like opportunities to clean it a little bit more. So that's kind of, you know, that's the level of what I want from my products. I'm willing to put them on family, not an heirloom, so to speak, but it's definitely something of family history that's important to me. 100 years. Yeah, it's definitely 100 years old. He was born April 5th, 1989, so he'd be 135 at this point. Beautiful, right? If you know the FANDU quality, you know what I'm talking about. And the straps are already flexible. And I don't recommend just beating these things up and being reckless with them. People have issues with the edges separating on some of the belts. I have had this issue myself. I'm quite honest with certain things. I have a couple of these blue straps downstairs because I have releathered several belts. These are fabulous. Now, that's interesting. Have a look at this medallion in the middle of this thing. Does that not look like it's almost a different color? See how it's... I don't know if I can pull it into the light. It's got on... well, am I just seeing this in the dark a little bit differently? Maybe. On the camera it still looks golden. I'm telling you, from right here it looks kind of roughed up. So I'm going to I will at some point take a jewelry cloth to that and probably take some cleaner to that and get that cleaned up. But it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It shines brightly. You see there's more of these up here. It shines brighter than the WWE belts. And that's not because it's closer to the camera. Have a look. Next to the WWE belts, the FANDU shines far and away. It's a different kind of paint or a different whatever chemical composition. So I'm very happy with that. Very happy for the price that I paid for that. Now, do I need this belt? I don't have a place to put this belt. My last one that I bought is still sitting on a bed. It's like he's in the waiting room waiting on a space to open up. So that's a little bit of it. There's my unboxing. Yeah, that medallion. To the naked, maybe it shows like that, but to the naked eye, it's got a little bit of difference to it. Let's see what I can do about that. But otherwise, very happy. I'm very happy with the cleaners that I was using. Like I said, those other belts, the Water Buffalo and so forth, beautiful. I'm going to go do some damage control, because not only have I broken a light bulb in the course of this video, I have run over it with my chair, and apparently it's down in the shelves, and the things you do for being able to hold the gold. You know. Anyway, thank you to eBay, and thank you to my buddy. But those of you who are out there, if you're on a budget, and you should be, and I am, just remember, there comes a time where we're going to have to get a hold of ourselves, probably sooner than later.